What's going on, everybody? Things are as good in the Seattle sports world as they have been all year, which is, not that good. Actually, if you go to ESPN, I think Jim Capel or somebody, I think it was Jim Capel, I think is his name, wrote an article about the horrendous 2008 year we've been having up here. So if you want to find out more about that, go to ESPN. The article should be pretty easy to find, and you can understand where I'm coming from, kind of. Anyway, 2-game winning streak now to end the year, a victory in Mike Holmgren's final game at Quest. That's about as good as it's gotten all year. I mean, the Mariners didn't do it, the Sonics moved to Oklahoma, the Huskies didn't win a game. 2-game winning streak is about the best we can do. So, we beat the Jets this Sunday, 13-3. Mike Holmgren's final game at Quest, and we got it done. The game itself, I don't think either side played extraordinarily well. We were very solid, and that's all we needed to do to win this game. Offensively, we did have a couple of crucial mistakes. Leonard Weaver had a fumble at the 3-yard line. Will Heller had a fumble a little bit before that. Those ended up being very costly, and on another day would have easily cost us that victory, but not today. Not today. We didn't make a lot of plays offensively, nothing like that. We didn't do anything shockingly good, but we were making plays here and there, and it was just enough to get the victory. Maurice Morris ran very well. Maurice, 120 yards or something like that on 30 carries. He played great. He averaged 4 yards a carry. He carried the load for us. And he was pretty much the spark of life on this offense, but I do have to say that Wallace, not a big game, but we made a couple plays here and there. I remember Corin Robinson made a couple nice catches. Bobby Engram probably had one of his best games of the year, which is insane much, but he played well. Had a couple other guys step up and make a couple of plays here and there. Oh, John Carlson. John Carlson had didn't have a big game or anything, but he did catch that touchdown, and it wasn't an easy catch to make. He pretty much had to wrap his arms around some defender's arm to grab that, and he held onto it in the back of the end zone. So that was great. Again, he only had 2 catches, but one of them did get us in the end zone. That ended up being the pretty much relevant points in this contest. So I said much earlier this year that my hopes were that Carlson could end the year with 50 catches, 500 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He has met or surpassed all of that. I think he has 54 catches, 620 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So that's great. We got one more game left to play. Again, really not a fantastic offensive showing, but it was very solid. Other than the 2 turnovers, I can't ask for much more. Just got the job done out there. Game was won defensively. Excuse me. This is I guess this is what I use in place of alcohol or whatever when I need a kick. It's, cranberry juice, whatever. Defensively, we got a good pass rush. One of the best efforts from our pass rush I've seen all year. Had 4 sacks. We were getting pressure early in the game. Darryl Tapp was very good. Brandon Mebane has actually had a really good year. He picked up a sack. Just in general, we were getting great pressure, and we kept at it, and eventually it translated into sacks. Which on the other side, our makeshift offensive line, which is made up almost entirely of backups, didn't allow any pressure, no sacks, on Seneca. So that was unexpected because the Jets' offensive line, they've got D'Brickashaw Ferguson, Nick Mangold, Alan Faneca, Damian Woody, all these guys that they've given huge money to. And we decimated them. player of this game was probably Josh Wilson. He picked up a sack. He had a couple of big tackles for us, but he had the early interception, which probably prevented the game from getting out of hand, because had the Jets scored on that drive or whatever, the game might have been out of hand for us because we would have been down 10, and there was just very little offensive life in this game. So, the throw, in all fairness, it was a really awfully thrown ball by Favre. Just pretty much just threw it up for grabs right to Wilson, and he grabbed it, but he did make that play. The second interception was, the game was pretty much over, and Wilson's interception sealed it up. After that, we were able to take some knees and end the game. So he had a big game. He was a playmaker for us, and he actually has been making a lot of plays for us ever since he came here. He's had good kick returns. I remember last year he had huge kick returns in like 2 games that we won by less than 7 points. This year he's had some good kick returns, and he's been making some plays defensively. Josh Wilson's really coming along, really happy with him. He had a big game, definitely a game ball today, so defensively we just got it done. Beyond that, not much else to say about this game, so let's look at the Jets. This whole year I've been kind of wanting the Jets to get into the playoffs, wanting them to win the division, because it's a good storyline. It's Brett Favre, it's the historically inept Jets, and, all this other stuff. But I'm out of sympathy for them. I'm out of pity. I'm out of whatever. It's like, after this game, it kind of confirmed what I believed about the Jets beforehand. They are a horribly coached team. Eric Mangini, Brian Sutton, Bob Sutton, excuse me. Terrible, Mangini, I don't really know what he does, but he shows no emotion on the sideline. He clearly needs to step in for some of the play calling duties here, and he doesn't do that, obviously. And if he does, he's doing an awful job of it. So, I think he's going to be out this offseason. Brian Schottenheimer continues to call the game as if Brett Favre is in MVP mode when he was in MVP mode about 10 years ago, not now. Bob Sutton has a very talented defense. They can't stop the run anymore. They still can't stop the pass. They're letting some very mediocre to bad quarterbacks like Tyler Thigpen and J.P. Lossman, not J.P. Lossman, excuse me. Maybe Seneca Wallace. I don't know if he's mediocre, but he's not an elite quarterback by any means. I think Jamarcus Russell looked decent against the Raiders. So something's got to change. And, it's funny. Brett Favre, he's a 39-year-old guy, and we had a hard time seeing this coming. Number one, he's old. It's in the snow, in snowy Seattle. Of course he's going to struggle. Just because he played all those years in Lambeau in the freezing cold does not mean that he's immune to the cold. He's still an old guy, 39, so when he hits the field and it's really cold, his play is going to suffer. I don't care if he played in Green Bay his career or Miami. Same thing. And it's sure looking like that the whole Brett Favre trade thing was a mistake. You look at Chad Pennington, you can say he needed a change of scenery, and you might be right, but the decision to let him go to Miami, trade for Brett Favre, really starting to look like a mistake. Brett Favre, I guess he got it into his mind that he still had it after posting a very good year last year. He was wrong. He doesn't have it anymore. He might give you a good performance for the first 10, 11 weeks of the year, but after that, he's going to run out of gas because he's 39 years old. And the last several weeks, he has not been able to bring it. As near as I can tell, he owes the Jets and their fans an apology for coming back and ruining what could have been a very good season for them, especially these, last few weeks, because the Jets are a very talented and capable team, and Brett Favre is the second reason why they've melted down the last several weeks. He should have just stayed retired. He pissed off the Packers he ruined the Jets season, but he did manage to revive the Dolphins in some sense. So there is that. Miami fans, you should love Brett Favre right now. It was thanks to him that you got Chad Pennington. So that's where we are now. Now it looks like, well, a couple weeks ago I said Brett Favre will probably come back and play next year. Now I'm thinking, who's going to want him? I'm not sure anybody's going to want him, because if you know that he cannot play, cannot bring it the last month of the year, like we have seen from him this year, do you want him? Probably not, because that's when you need your quarterback to show up.